Lorna is MIA. Caputo finally comes to a truth about his whole Me Too movement situation, and Red gets a very sad diagnosis. You're watching Orange is the New Black After Show.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
We're back.
Hey,
We're back. It's been so long. So sorry, guys.
But we're here now.
But we're here now. We've got so much to get into. This is episode 10 of season 7, the final season of Orange is the New Black. So sad. It's called the 13th. We have so much to get into.
Yeah.
Lorna was gone. She out of her mind. They found her in a chicken coop. Thank goodness.
Physically and mentally.
Yes, and mentally.
Yes.
Red, they finally diagnosed Red with dementia. I gotta say, I told you so.
Yeah,
I told you so.
Long time coming, but actually hearing it was pretty sad.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so much to get into today. Mm-hmm. So we have that, but I have to tell you guys who I am. I am Breanna Cheyenne, your host, and I'm here with men.
Hey, I'm Lesley, and and I'm just excited to talk Orange is the New Black.
Yes. Okay, so let's just jump right into it.
Episode 10.
Yes, episode 10. So Lorna was missing for a minute.
Yeah.
And then they found her in the chicken coop, just held up there.
Yeah.
Just, looking just really sad.
Yeah. So this episode picks up kind of immediately where the last one,
where they left off.
Mm-hmm. And, she was kind of running. We didn't really know where she was going.
Did you think she was going to escape?
I was kind of thinking she was, but in my head, but I was like, but how? Like, obviously that would have been that easy. And so it kind of made sense. Like, well, there's not really that many places she can go outside, but the chicken coop. So it does make sense. But it's kind of crazy because it's like she really has gone cuckoo.
Yeah.
And she's in the chicken coop. It's just, there's so much fun that you can have there.
She flew the coop.
She did. I was like, there's an analogy. Yeah, there's a joke there that I couldn't land. Mm-hmm. The whole prison had to go on lockdown because of this.
Yeah. I do want to touch real quick because when they found her, that she had a chicken under her jacket and they didn't know that it was a chicken.
Yeah.
And immediately they thought she was armed, and I think it was Dixon who shot her in the back with a taser.
Yeah.
And she fell to the ground, and Ward was there and she said that was completely unnecessary. Yeah. And it's crazy to me because I don't know, it just gave me a vision of everything that's been going on lately in society with the hands up, don't shoot, and you're just shooting because you assume somebody is armed.
Yeah.
But what could Lorna be armed with in a chicken coop?
There's so many different ways you can see it. It's like, well, obviously prisoners aren't supposed to have any weapons, so realistically, you're right. What was she going to come at them with? But at the same time, they do know that sometimes they do smuggle in things, and they might have weapons at their disposal that they could attack with. But I do feel like it's this just recurring theme of like officers or, correctional officers or whoever in a uniform. It's like this attack, shoot first, tase first, ask questions later. And it's like, well, you should be trained enough or,
to assess the situation.
Exactly. You should have a handle of the situation more than the person that you're trying to disarm or stop. It's almost like they're scared, and I think he came at it from a place of fear, but then it's just like, well, then you really shouldn't be.
You're in the wrong profession.
And then same with like in society too, like some police officers, like, well, if you're really not in the position to like handle this, if your immediate reaction is I have to protect myself, then are you really serving the greater purpose? I'm glad he tased her though and like not shot her.
Well, that's only because they don't have guns. I'm sure if they had guns, he probably would have shot her.
Yeah.
But it was also chilling to see how Hellman's reaction was, it's okay, bro, don't worry about it. And it's crazy because I know for a fact there are police officers out there that have watched that same thing happen, and the first thing they do is comfort the officer that shot someone unarmed and say, it's okay, they did something that deserved that reaction.
As opposed to the person that was injured.
Exactly. Or show any remorse.
Yeah.
So that was pretty sad to see.
I didn't realize what Lorna was doing with the chicken under her shirt. It took me a while later, and I was like, oh wait, she was trying to breastfeed the chicken because she's thinking that it's her baby because she's crazy. It took me a while before I was like, wait, what was she doing with that chicken?
So eventually she kind of gets her mind as right as possible in that short amount of time, and Nicky finds her because they didn't know that Lorna was missing for a while. They didn't realize it. And then Nicky goes to Lorna to comfort her, and Lorna finally tells her a half-truth. Well, it was basically a lie, because she made it. What she did say is that Vinny wants a divorce, but she said that Vinny's taking the baby. And in Nicky's mind, she's thinking, oh my gosh, how could he do this? So he has so much sympathy for Lorna. And I'm just sitting like, dang, Lorna is dangerous.
Yeah, she is. She's the worst kind of scary, because it's like she believes all of her lies. But this was a really hard episode for Nicky, because I feel like she started to guilt trip herself so much for not being there for her friends. She's like, I didn't realize the craziness things that was happening with Lorna. And then Red, this was a major episode for her. And Nicky realizing how severe her situation is. I felt bad. It's like, I feel like she blamed herself for not being able to foresee or catch some of the stuff early on, but I feel like that's not really anything someone can detect, you know, so soon, or really know exactly what the scope of a situation is. Yeah,
the situation with Red, well, before we jump into the situation with Red, I do want to say, because you mentioned Shawnee also, and I think Nicky really likes Shawnee. Because she's trying to help her get past this whole situation she has with her private areas and getting past such a huge physical boundary is really big of Nicky. And I think the old Nicky probably would have looked at it like, ooh, this is a challenge. But she really cares for her and genuinely wants her to enjoy her time with her.
Which is why it's so sad that, like, Nicky is not, from this episode, made it seem like she's not really gonna she's gonna put that on hold, that relationship, so she can take care of her friends. But like, this is the first time I think that we're seeing Nicky in a relationship that's kind of healthy
in a way,
and giving and very selfless. Like, you know, all of Nicky's relationships have been about sex or about, you know, fulfilling some sort of immediate gratification. With Lorna, that really was like, I mean, they had a friendship, but there was no like actual depth there, because Lorna is not a lesbian. But with this relationship, you see like there's attraction, but there's also friendship and respect and like a real dedication to trying to make the other person feel, you know, loved and secure. And that was really nice to see Nicky in that situation. And I like her with Shari, and I feel like they're Shawnee. I like that we got to see that, and I was kind of bummed that, like, I was like, oh man, she's gonna take a step back now.
Definitely. And that sucks, because Shawnee is on the clock, because this episode she got the notice, the final notice. And I know that Nicky's feeling guilty now about not being there for her friends, but I can't imagine her taking a step back from Shawnee and then just missing the opportunity, and Shawnee is just gone. I think that's going to shock Nicky to her core. And she's really going to feel like she failed.
I agree.
But at least she doesn't have to feel like she failed with Red, because after Red cut her hand in the kitchen, she sent her to the doctor, and of course Red being Red, she's like, no, it's a cut, it's nothing. But Nicky knows that it's deeper than just a cut. She's taking the opportunity to get help for the mental issues.
Well, this was sort of her chance, because she's been wanting Red to like find out, and Red's just like, no, I'm not gonna go see a doctor. But this is kind of like, well, we have to go see a doctor to fix your hand, but then also let's bring up all these other symptoms you have.
Absolutely. So of course Red had a problem with it. She's in denial, so she's angry at Nicky, she's a traitor, all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, when the doctor says Red wants someone that she can trust, it was Nicky. And she came in, and I'm really glad that Nicky's not the type of person that holds on to angry feelings that someone might feel towards her, and she was there for Red in that moment.
And I feel like Red, I don't remember what the exact words were, but like, she probably knew this was coming. She wanted to deny it to herself as long as possible, sort of, you know, kind of how Lorna is. They don't want to accept the reality, but at some point you're sitting in the doctor's chair, you're getting it. It's like, well, this is happening.
Yeah, exactly. So before we move on to our next topic, do you have a special message for our lovely viewers and how much we love them and listening and watching AfterBuzz?
Well, obviously here at AfterBuzz, we do a lot of different shows and a lot of content, and so definitely want to encourage all the viewers out there to check out all of the shows. There's pretty much every single show you can think of available on the platform. So check out everything, and obviously continue to try to check out the Orange is the New Black episodes.
Yes, and thank you for making AfterBuzz TV the ESPN of TV talk. Yes, make sure you like us, subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, and comment. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and give us 5-star ratings on iTunes. So thanks everybody for watching.
Cuckoo.
Yes. So our next topic that I really just I'm just gonna get past it. I'm so tired of them. Alex and Piper.
Yeah.
So let's start with Piper.
This episode was an interesting one for them. We got to learn a lot about Alex and a little bit of her backstory, but then also sort of assess Piper's current situation and her friend Zelda, who really pushes her to just be like, hey, you need to make amends with your ex and your ex's friend.
What did you think about Zelda going on I guess making a double date out of the trip with Larry and Polly?
I thought the whole thing was so weird. I thought it was weird how much she pushed it in the first place. Like, oh, I'm here with my friend. And then all of a sudden she casually mentions, yes, I have an ex. And there was like this bad situation. Let me just grab your phone and make you call him right now.
Yeah.
It was so weird. I was like, who does that?
I thought that was really pushy.
It was so pushy. And then she comes on the date, which, I mean, if anything, that was less weird. But it's like, and Piper's kind of like, she kind of folds really fast. She was just like, oh, okay. But it's like, her ex did like end up leaving with her friend. I mean, if she's not trying to talk in that situation, I would get Piper's side. But then, on the phone call, it was almost like her friend, I forget her name. What's her name?
Which
Larry's new wife,
Polly,
yes, sorry. Like, she was almost the one that was more upset or not trying to speak to Piper, and it's like, I feel like they're more in the wrong.
I didn't get why Polly felt some type of way towards Piper.
Exactly. So but the dinner was kind of entertaining, I guess.
I think Piper likes the fact that Zelda is pushy, because if she didn't, she wouldn't give her as much attention and hang out with her so much.
Yeah.
And I think part of Zelda reminds her of Alex in a way of she gets her to step outside of her comfort zone.
That's a good point.
So I kind of get the vibe there, but now Zelda's feelings for Alex are becoming a little bit more than friends.
For Piper?
For Piper. And at first I didn't think that it was possible, because she ended up inviting her to a gala.
Yeah.
But deep down, she knows she wanted to invite her upstairs and have this romantic night.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that of Zelda.
I feel like I could tell that Zelda was going to like her right away, and Piper... I mean, she likes Zelda because it's like, oh, well, obviously, they connect, they get along, and she's attractive. But I think also Piper's life was pretty pathetic,
Yes.
And Zelda's life is exciting and glamorous and what she wants. And, she's in her office building and she's like, oh my gosh, this place is amazing. Piper barely was able to get a job at that little restaurant that she was working at, and now with her dad in this little office where she makes copies all day. And so I feel like Zelda gives her what she wants. And I think even though right now she's still holding on to the idea of her and Alex, Alex is just a reminder to her of the life that she's trying to run away from. Or I know she's trying to accept it now, but really she's not about that anymore. Or who would want to hold on to that forever. So I feel like Zelda just represents like probably what she aspires to go towards.
I see that, but I don't think that she's going to allow herself to fully go towards that because of Alex.
Okay.
There's just something about her relationship with Alex. I think Piper loves chaos because she just stays with Alex, and chaos follows Alex.
Yeah, but I also think that Piper kind of always goes for what's shiny too. So like, you know, she went with Alex while she was with Larry. Larry was like the safe choice, and Alex was the exciting new one because she was in her surroundings. She was in prison, so she was going to be near Alex, but now she's not. So I feel like now Alex is like the old choice, and I feel like, I mean, if anything, you know, when Alex told her, hey, you know, I think you should try to go have sex with strangers and get it out of your system, I let you. Piper kind of took her on the offer pretty quickly.
No, she didn't.
I feel like she did.
Piper fought it. Piper said, no, I don't want to do this.
She fake fought it. She kind of like, she gave up enough of a fight so she didn't look that bad. But I mean, it was like within a week, she's like hooking up with a guy and a girl. And I mean, a lot of people might have just not taken that offer at all.
I mean, no, I disagree. I think Piper fought it, and I think it was people around her that made her say, you know what, let me just try it. And then she tried it, and she realized that she didn't like it. She didn't want to be with a man. She was with a man, she didn't like it. She was with a woman, she didn't like it, because she knew deep down it wasn't that physical attraction she needed from someone. It was just a connection, and that connection she had with Alex, that's what she needed on the outside. So I disagree.
I feel like I don't know. I think Piper is selfish, and I think she tries to pretend like she's more conflicted than she actually is. And the reason also is because, like, so quickly when she figured out that she didn't like hooking up with strangers, she was like, I don't want to do this anymore, Alex. And I almost feel like I didn't like that she didn't even offer that same opportunity to Alex. Like, I mean, Alex is struggling too, and like going through loneliness. She still accepted this offer that her wife gave her, but she didn't reciprocate.
But she doesn't need to offer it to Alex if it's Alex's idea. And Alex told her that she's not going to.
I think she should have. I think you know, she's only seeing her own problems and her own, you know, lack of her own loneliness. And I think it's selfish for her not to see that Alex also needed that. And that's why, like, you know, even with Alex and McCullough, like, she's also longing for another person. She's just not verbalizing it the way Piper is. And I think Piper isn't able to see. I don't think Piper's able to see what Alex is going through. I think she just listens to her words, but she's too caught up in herself to really see what's going on.
We're just gonna agree to disagree. Because I see a whole other situation. But moving on to Alex and McCullough.
Yeah.
So we got a better look into Alex's past relationship with Sylvie.
Yeah.
Sylvie was the woman before Piper. And at first she was an alcoholic. Then she got cleaned up. And she started living her best life. She got some friends and all this stuff. And Alex started to feel like she wasn't really welcomed in their circle because they didn't share the same interests. I think Alex, in that way, is selfish because she wants to have this superhero role. And then once her victim is okay and safe, she doesn't want anybody else to interfere with her victim. Like, she wants to be the only one to save that person every single time, and she can't handle when Sylvie is independent now, and that's why she went and she found a new person to save, which was Piper, poor confused Piper. So how did you feel getting a better look into Alex's, I guess, love of also chaos?
Yeah, well, I think that's an interesting point. I don't really see Alex as someone who needs to save someone. I actually didn't think her backstory was very strong, and I almost don't think it was necessary. Like, I was kind of like, okay, they're trying to tell us a little bit about where Alex was before she met Piper, but I thought it was kind of boring, and I don't think it offered that much into Alex's personality. I feel like it was just like a relationship that she was in that wasn't very. It didn't seem like there was much going on, because I was like, oh, okay, I get she tried to help her friend or her girlfriend, but now she doesn't want to hang out with her friends. It was just, I don't know. I feel like the show has done stronger backstories before. I almost felt like this one was unnecessary. I don't think I landed where I was supposed to with Alex. That's why, like, at the end when she meets Piper, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get the point of the story now. I think it was meant to just show where she was before she met Piper. Like, she was kind of like over her last relationship, ready to move on. I don't think it was meant to show that like she always has to save someone, because I think Alex's personality has always shown that she kind of like will stay away from drama, or if there's a situation that looks like it might be trouble, she tries to find a way to avoid it and kind of be on her own. And sometimes the situations just present themselves to her and pull her in. But I don't think she's someone who seeks chaos.
I disagree.
It's okay. I mean, it's okay.
I think because in the episode, I think that backstory was absolutely necessary, because it gives you a better understanding as to why she gives McCullough this attention, this emotional connection that she's fiending for, and she allows McCullough to think that it can be something more than what it is, and she leads McCullough on.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, because I personally am wondering, well, what is it about McCullough besides this whole business exchange? Why do you continuously flirt with her and kiss on her and confide in her about Piper? And after seeing her backstory, I say, oh, okay, I get it. You have this situation where you always feel like you gravitate more towards people that need help, because McCullough was vulnerable with her, and she told her, I need this job. I can't get fired. I don't have money like that. I'm not financially stable. She's emotionally lost. She's never been with a woman before. This is her first relationship with a woman that we know of. And I think Alex sees all of that in her and says, ooh, another project. I'll pick this one up because now Piper is doing better and she's more independent. And also in the scene when Sylvie caught Piper and Alex together and she kicked Piper out, Sylvie even said, you have a problem. Like, you always feel like you need to go out and get the next basket case. I can't remember the exact verbiage, but basically she was saying, you always feel like you have to get the next basket case. You see me doing well. I don't need you as much as I need before. Yeah. And now you're cheating on me with some random girl because you're threatened by my independence. So I think that scene right there put the nail in the coffin. And when it comes on to putting a label on Alex having this superhero tendency.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. I didn't buy it, just because I don't think that's been the Alex we've seen. But I mean, I get why it kind of...
Because we've seen prison Alex. We didn't see outside Alex.
No, but we have seen her, like, we've seen some of her other flashbacks. I don't feel like that one is enough to make me think differently of who she is. And the situation with McCullough, I feel like it's just because she doesn't have anyone else. I actually don't really know if she's that attracted to her. I feel like she just doesn't have anyone else in this situation. I think she senses that she is losing Piper. And she's just sort of acting out. But I mean, what do you guys think? Like, out there, what do you think about Alex and Piper's relationship? And are they both women who seek chaos or who seek some sort of purpose or mission, whether it be to save someone or find the next exciting thing? Share in your comments, because I mean, there's so many different ways to interpret someone's motivation.
Make sure you guys comment and we'll review it and discuss it again on the next episode. So someone that hasn't changed is Aleda. She's back in jail with Daya.
Being crazy.
And being Aleda. And they have this drug war going on.
I just don't get why she can't stop. She is a pit bull 24/7.
She's a hustler and she doesn't know any better.
But like the whole time I was like, oh, you don't know that your daughter is like at the point where she would just kill you. She would just put a hit on her own mother.
She won't.
I feel like she would.
She won't. Daya would never. I think Daya dislikes Aleda to the point where she'll disrespect her to a certain extent. But she would never do anything to harm her in that way, because that's still her family.
I feel like I used to think that, but seeing Daya being able to do what she did to Daddy, I think
she didn't do it to Daddy on purpose.
I feel like she knew the risks and still took them, and I think that's what she would do with her mom as well.
But there's a difference between doing something to someone by accident and knowing the risk and gambling versus like literally putting a hit on someone.
So do you think she would do it at least on accident, like try to scare her, but then it got too far and she ends up killed?
I could see that happening.
Okay.
I could see her doing something a little too far and then it gets further to where she loses control.
Yeah.
But I think the situation with Daddy taught her a little lesson, and I think that's not sobered her up, but she might think a little bit more clear before she takes drastic actions. So instead of doing something physically, she's like, you know what, I'm gonna mess with your money.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at this point.
Yeah.
So she finessed Luschek. I don't even know why. Why is Luschek teaching the GED class?
Well, because
No, I know why, but why? Like, why Luschek? Of all the guards, there are a lot of guards there that I'd see just walking around or just standing in one place, blinking, and then that's it. But Luschek,
because Luschek, just because. But that whole scene was so funny. They're like, okay, we need you to do something. It's going to be pretty easy. And then he's just like, nah, I'll just put it up my butt. And then they're like, well, okay, well then it's going to be pills. And then I'm just like, why would you volunteer to make it more complicated for yourself?
He knows. He was doing it back in Litchfield, so he knows.
But I'm saying, like, their initial offer was just like little slits inside a book. I mean, I would have taken that offer.
But no, because he knows that it's going to look suspicious. Like he said, if I'm bringing books into here, like, nobody's going to believe that I'm reading.
Well, for the GED class, I feel like the warden would buy it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I would be shocked if I saw Luschek taking something serious like a GED class and voluntarily bringing in books. But who knows? Up the butt definitely got the job done because he brings in the drugs and then
I mean, if he's fine with it, then cool.
Yeah, that's not my butt.
That's good for Daya, I guess. Bad for Leda.
Great for Daya. So we also see that Taystee took on the tutor position for a lot of the students, including Pennsatucky. And I'm glad to see that she found an outlet.
Yeah.
Because Taystee has been in a very, 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 very dark place. And
this was a nice, Taystee move.
It was nice
in this season.
But do you think it will last? Do you think she still has suicide attempts on her brain?
I think it will last. I don't know how long. I mean, we'll see. I feel like Taystee has been such a pivotal story of this series. I refuse to believe she's not going to have a happy ending, at the end of this season. So I feel like maybe she might still wrestle with the feelings, but I'm going to believe that, like, she's going to start going towards a more positive path because she really does have so much to offer. Like, she is a light, and she really can help lift other people's spirits up when she herself isn't down. Like, she really is, like, she's very giving and like intelligent, and so I want to see more of it.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for that, because I have high hopes for Taystee. I'm not giving up on you. I gave up on Daya, but we've not giving up on you.
We've seen enough Taystee heartache. Like, come on, guys.
Seriously. Let's get her a win, please. So we have the restorative justice class still going strong, and a lot of people are taking great things out of the program. And I'm really happy, even though Maria is kind of weirding me out with how nice she's being. Positive change is better than stagnant nastiness.
She is such a weird character because sometimes I just feel like she's faking.
I know.
I'm like,
I feel like she fakes sometimes too.
But then it's like she's keeping up with it. So, like, oh no, she's actually
you care.
But it's like, she's weird. Maybe it's just like, that's just her personality, but I always feel like I don't buy what she's saying.
Yeah. So we saw that Maria and Dixon had their moment.
Yeah.
Dixon went off. Like, I didn't think, but he is a very emotional character, so I'm not too surprised. But I liked that he stepped in and he said, you owe me an apology. Like, where's my justice? Where's my moment? And you see that, like you said, I mentioned before we got on, there is a some type of PTSD going on still. We saw that with the lockdown, and then we see that.
And I like that they did that because they showed the guards kind of acting weird after the lockdown. I was like, why are they tripping? You saw McCullough like tripping, and I'm like, oh yeah, the guards, we have history here a few seasons back. Hello, which within the scope of the show, has it been like within the year? I don't know, but they went through something that was really hard and traumatizing at the hands of the inmates, and they still have to work with them, and they still have to be an authority figure, but probably internally they don't feel that. And then that's why, like, even, you know, in the beginning of the episode with Lorna and like him tasing him, it's like, okay, well, they do live in fear. Like, I feel, and we have seen that the prison company, you know, really doesn't care about really preparing their guards or giving them any sort of training or personality, emotional assessment. And so you have them just trying to cope on their own. But that was I really liked that moment. I like that he was able to be like, hey, you know what? You've harmed me. It might have been something that she doesn't think about, that she doesn't realize, oh, hey, I had a lasting impact on this really big guy.
I'm sure she doesn't think about it at all. But that's why this moment is so great, because things that are just out your mind, that don't matter to you, it gives you the opportunity to really reflect and become more self-aware. So I'm happy that Dixon because poor Dixon says he can't use a porta potty anymore because of what happened.
I was like, wait. I was like, oh yeah, they trapped him in the porta potty. I think it flipped.
Yes, it flipped.
So
poor guy. He's so big. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So Maria and Dixon had their moment. They hugged, all that stuff. But then we saw Caputo. He got involved with a role-playing scenario with one of the other inmates.
Yeah.
And it was involving one inmate who was basically a pimp on the outside, talking to one of her working girls. And he felt like the victim.
Yeah.
And was expressing himself to her. And she wasn't receptive of it at all. She wasn't taking responsibility. She was just like saying, you know, this is your job. This is what you came here to do. Why am I going to apologize to you for whatever happened to you out on the street? So I want to know, what do you think was going through Caputo's mind during those moments? Like, did you think that he was really registering his own situation with the Me Too movement?
I don't think initially. And then just like with, you know, he's a good guy. I do think he's a good guy, but that doesn't mean he isn't misguided, and that doesn't mean some of his past behavior hasn't been questionable, if not just wrong. And, you know, I think him even doing this restorative justice class, like, you know, you see like, oh, all of these women are here, all of them have crimes and so forth, and here they're paying for them. But like, you know, it's slowly gotten him to realize, oh, let me look at my past actions and what I have done. And, you know, in any other scenario, maybe something I did landed me in jail, you know, like sexual harassment or, you know, an unlawful firing might not get you in jail now, but it's like, you know, there are repercussions. There are repercussions. And so I feel like, again, like in the initial stage, he doesn't see that as himself, because he doesn't think of himself maybe, at least initially, in the same group as some of these women who need redemption. But now I think he's slowly starting to realize, hey, you know.
So you think it's genuine?
Yeah, but I think it's just, it takes a while for him to get there.
I agree with that. It definitely does take a while. But I do want to say kudos to Caputo for taking the time to really genuinely regret what happened. Because a lot of times in real life, you see men say they're sorry for stuff like this, but they might do it for the cameras or just how it seems in public, and they're scared, versus Caputo, who really feels bad as a person for what he did, and now he has this moment of clarity.
Which is why he finally is like, you know what, I'm gonna tell the truth and step down, and that's why I think it is genuine. But like, he was resistant, and like when the whole Me Too, you know, comment came out against him, I don't think that was the first thing on his head, him thinking, oh, I have to immediately step down and do all this stuff. Like, that was the last thing he was thinking. Yeah, because
he thought he was going to fight it.
Yeah, or he's like, let me reason with her and have her, let me mansplain why she's wrong. And he went through all of these steps of like, you know, trying to wrestle with the reality of someone's perception or someone's situation.
So that was great. And then we see Fig has the total opposite agenda. She's like, you're not stepping down, and it's so funny because a lot of times you don't see women take that stand. They want the man to admit that they were wrong. So they have an amazing dynamic.
She's just really practical, because I mean, realistically, he could have avoided this whole, like, he could have just I mean, not saying it was the right thing or wrong thing, but if he had just ignored it and moved on, he probably wouldn't have had to deal with it so much. You know,
It's hard
he
to
made
say.
the situation, but I think he made the situation worse.
He did definitely make it worse. He did.
I feel like he could have, I don't know, but I think he could have maybe walked away with it a little unscathed, but I do like the direction he went in better because it made him confront his own situation. Like, even when he was telling the warden like what happened, like he told her in a way that he hadn't been telling everyone else. You know, he was like, oh no, she really wasn't a good employee, I had to fire her. Oh no, it was just a little crush. But when he told her, he was just like, yeah,
I gotta resign. Yeah.
well, no, like he was like, no, I acted inappropriately. I fired her after she rejected me. Like he said it more bluntly, and it took him a while to get to that part.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm glad that he went this situation as opposed to trying to do what Fig said and just ignore it, just move on.
Well, Caputo sure does know how to make a dinner awkward.
Yeah.
But let's get into some news and gossip real quick.
Cool.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So we all miss our beloved Pussy Washington. We all hold her very close to our hearts, even though
One of the best characters ever.
I know. Even though we're sure that her legacy will live on forever, not only in theater or theatrics with the Orange is the New Black franchise, but also in real life, because there is a fund called the Pussy Washington Fund. And I'm going to read you their website and their mission on crowdrise.com. And it says, Pussy Washington may have been a fictional character created for television, but her life story and devastating fate is all too real for many women in the country. The Pussy Washington Fund will support 8 pre-existing nonprofits to benefit organizations focused on social issues surrounding criminal justice and policy reform, immigrants' rights, and helping those affected by mass incarceration. So I think it's amazing that they took a fake character and they created a real situation that can help so many people today. And I love that the fact that they involved the immigrant necessities in there too. So that's amazing.
Well, that's one of the reasons why this show is so great. It's because they're telling a lot of stories that aren't often shared, that are real, that are felt by many people, and they're fictional characters. But yeah, just like the post, it's like it's very much a reality for a lot of families, of women, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. So make sure if you're interested, visit the crowdrise.com website. You'll see Pussy's lovely face there, and they already have over $200,000. So that's our little news and gossip bit. Let's get into some predictions real quick before we sign off.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Do you have anything that already in mind?
Well, so I won't lie. I am 1 episode ahead. So I know a little bit. But I have been trying to hold myself back from finishing because I've been really wanting to binge this whole show. But like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to stick with like all of our episods so we can do and review them together, which has been really fun, by the way, sharing with you guys. So like, thank you for like bearing with us as we make it through this season. I feel like kind of how I said earlier, I really want to see Taystee, Taystee's storyline move in a positive direction. I'm kind of like really not over, but like it's, you know, so disheartening seeing her constantly facing like losing situations. So definitely want to see some happiness coming her way. I feel like Piper and Zelda are going to get closer. I don't really know what's going to happen with Alex and McCullough, because that's a strange relationship.
A whole lot
there.
of nothing.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, it's going to be sad seeing Red deteriorate, because now we know that's coming. You know, it's going to happen. And I'm curious what's going to end up being in store for. Oh, now I'm drawing a blank. For
Describe the character.
Lorna's and Red's friend. Why am I forgetting her name?
Which one? Shawnee?
No, her girlfriend.
Whose girlfriend? Nikki's girlfriend?
Nikki.
Nikki's girlfriend.
Nikki.
Yeah, Nicky.
I was saying Nikki. I forgot Nikki. Nikki, sorry. I just kept thinking of the actress and her real name. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Nikki, because I feel like everyone close to her right now is falling apart.
Yeah. My prediction is Taystee is going to have a a really good moment with this GED program. I think she's going to see some major changes, and it's going to give her a lot to look forward to, on top of the fact that her lawyer has some pending things in store since Suzanne's book. So I'm looking forward to see how that plays out. And I just want to see Daya and Aleda really duke it out. I want to see how far they're going to go for this drug turf, because
it's gonna get ugly.
It's gonna get so ugly, and it's gonna be so funny. I cannot wait. Aleda is a character.
Yeah, no, but I'm telling you, Daya's dangerous. I think
she's dangerous, but she's not gonna kill her mom.
I don't know. I don't put it past her. But she's gonna do something. It's gonna be entertaining, and it's gonna get crazy. That's all I know.
Let's get crazy again next week, so we can fill you guys in again on the next episode, episode 11. I am your host, Breanna Cheyenne. You can follow me on Instagram at IMB_Cheyenne, CHIANNE.
Hey, and you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Lesley the Face.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners.